To see you.
Yeah, how are you?
Doing great. How did your conference go?
It was good. It was busy as all hell.
Yeah.
Underestimated the time that I could speak with people because I had the two moderated two panels and
Uh-huh.
fellows meetings and that, and so I had to make phone calls. I said I got to call you or set up things. It was just like people were
Yeah.
calling me. I said I got to run. It was awful. I had about 1,400 people there, and I knew a lot of them, but I just
Yeah.
it for a couple of days I was there in Nashville. It was busy. Plus,
Yeah.
anyway, a long way to the venue. So interesting topic tonight.
Yeah. 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 It's stuff that you've heard in some form or fashion in a lot of ways, but change up the
Okay.
title and stuff. Douglas, good to have you here. How you doing? Can you hear me, Douglas?
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. Or I'm having problems, I think. Hang on.
Okay. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
using Zoom again for a different reason.
Yeah. All right. That's good. We're glad to have you here. So anyway, we'll give it just another minute or so as people are going to trickle in. But yeah, Raul, what any big takeaways from the conference? Good conversations or things that you did differently than you
No,
otherwise
I
would have?
mean,
I'm just
moderating
curious about some of
panels, as I do more, I become more and more comfortable doing them.
that.
And we got some excellent reviews on ours, the one on mentoring and the other one on a specific project. So it was good.
Hmm.
It's interesting. It seems like AI is always a topic there, no matter what they have. They put AI in front of it, and these
Yeah,
people
sure.
flock to it. So I
Yeah.
already had an idea in the mentoring. I said, okay, we had a pretty good turnout, but I'm gonna really
Yeah.
pack the room next time. I'm gonna have to put a
Good.
title AI and mentoring and how we're gonna do that. And I guarantee you, we're gonna
Yeah.
pack that room. I was just saying,
Yeah,
you
you don't
know,
even have to talk about it. You can just put it in the title and then suddenly
yeah. I
people
mean
show up
that's what
and
it was. But okay, that was good. Um, the conversation I did say in the opening, I did tell them I was looking for positions. I did use
good.
your opening. It was good. I felt confident, but I did have
Nice.
to add because I said, as long as it did not conflict with my duties at STV.
Yes, absolutely. For
So I
sure.
made sure to say that. I mean, I want to
Yeah,
be upfront
absolutely.
with people, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess STV still values me. So we'll see.
Oh,
Anyway,
sure.
it was
Yeah, you're
good.
doing great. You're doing good stuff for them.
And good and continue to. I'm glad that on the retreat crew we're still coming up with ideas and bringing things and
Hmm.
rooting people on. And I'm happy
Yeah.
about your progress too. So you're looking good,
Yeah,
man.
it's fun to see that longer term impact from experiences like that. Sam, glad to have you here. How you doing? Saw your face for a second there as you were joining.
Yes,
There he
thank
is.
you. Doing well. Thank you for hosting a free Zoom meeting. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure, man. Where are you joining us from?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay, good area. Actually, Dallas or just in the Dallas area?
Actually, Dallas. Yeah, kind of on the
Okay.
northern side.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've lived in kind of on the Fort Worth side. Um, it's been a little while, and I've lived in Austin too. So um, I do love Texas. It's a good place. Um, I was theoretically supposed to be in Dallas next week, and then the event didn't end up panning out. So
Hmm.
so good and bad, but it's all good. Well, glad to have y'all here. Let's go ahead and get started. Um, and into the topic, and we're going to be talking about this concept of my four-step process that helps engineers secure 20 to 50K salary increases in under 90 days. And I put that range, that's really common. I've also seen ranges even bigger than that in different circumstances. It really comes down to let's get the fundamentals right. Um, my friend Raul is all about the foundation. We're going to talk about that foundation today, and so we're going to dive into that. But to get started, there's not a huge group, so we're not going to do like the 3, 2, 1 countdown thing. But I do want to ask a few questions throughout this to kind of prompt some discussion, so it's not just Jeff talking the whole time. And the question to start with, and I ask this in hopes that like, hey, maybe something that all of you share is helpful for everyone else, right? This is an opportunity to serve the rest of the group here. So, what comes to mind when I ask this question? What's one of the best pieces of career advice you've ever received? And maybe easiest thing is to type that in to the chat here in Zoom. So take just a few seconds to type that in. Hey, Brandon, glad to see you just joining us. We are just kicking it off with this question. What's one of the best pieces of career advice you've ever received? So go ahead and type your answer in the chat. Raul says, learn the fundamentals. Like it says, I don't remember best or worst. Doesn't need to be the best, just one of the best. One thing that you remember that you feel like's been impactful. And by the way, random piece. I learned this from someone who was an expert in question asking. Adding that little qualifier, one of, makes questions like this a little bit more accessible generally. Because sometimes when you ask, hey, what's your favorite thing? People sort of turn off like, oh man, is that really my favorite? But when you just add one of, it makes it a little bit easier for people to answer and feel okay with, hey, it's just one of them, right? Okay, Brandon says you're your own biggest advocate. Stand up for yourself and know where you bring value. Absolutely. Sam says have a long-term goal and work backwards. Very cool. Love all these things. And so the hope here is that, hey, maybe there's something there, even just at the very beginning, you're getting value from each other, contributing, and maybe there's something that you can grab right here at the very beginning without anything that I'm going to say, right? But let's dive in. I think I've met most of you except for Sam. I don't know if we've met in depth, but just a bit about me. Two-time author. Got an award for the intentional engineer. Actually, funny story. I shared on LinkedIn a few days ago that that trophy broke on its way to officially receiving the award in an event last week. But I've
That's a good
super glued it.
story,
It's
yeah.
still back up behind me, so it's resurrected a little bit, and it's still standing. So we're good there. But it was fun. I actually had a little acceptance speech and just talked about, hey, like, you know, it was this pristine, nice thing, and then it breaks, but like that's kind of a metaphor for life, right? Like we don't get through life unscathed. And it's really what I love doing is helping people overcome some big challenges that they're feeling in their careers and in their lives, and that's really what this is about. And so my hope today is to help you uncover some steps and some changes and some opportunities that can be helpful for you. I'm a family man, love spending time with my wife, and we've got four little kids. But really, from a work and professional perspective, it's about how do we unlock potential in people. So, want to tell you a quick story about one of the very first people that I worked with in this journey of me being a coach in this space. Jay was an international student. He came over from India, got a master's degree in mechanical engineering. He graduated in 2019, but he couldn't legally work for about 8 months because there were some visa issues. He finally got those sorted out, and that was February of 2020, and the pandemic hit like right after. So we had some interviews set up, then those all went away as soon as the pandemic hit in March, right? So now he was dealing with crippling student loans, and he was having to work minimum wage at a gas station to take care of he and his wife, and they had a little dog at the time. And which, you know, you think about like talk about a mismanagement of resources and opportunity from someone with a master's degree in mechanical engineering, and he was working at a gas station. Okay. We worked together following some of the very steps that I'm going to be talking tonight about, and he ended up with 3 job offers. He's since been thriving. He's had multiple promotions. He ended up buying his dream car that he put on his vision board. He got his first promotion in 8 months, and he's had a couple more since then. And he continues to grow to great success, right? So this is the stuff that's possible, stuff I love to see. And he even did some of the networking and connecting with people in a way that, like, by the time he went to these job interviews, people were like, "Hey, you're pretty popular around here," because he completely changed his approach to connecting with people, and it works really well for him. So that's just some of the stuff that's possible, right? So I want to just ask you real quick, on a scale from 1 to 5 using this scale, where's your career right now? Okay, you're sitting in that 1, 2, 3 area, maybe feeling overlooked or obligatory or opportunistic, because you're unemployed, surviving, paid, or paid and disengaged. That's where I see a lot of people is in that group 3. A lot of engineers are paid well, but they just have this feeling that something needs to change, right? The dividing line here tips us over the scale is the power of intention. We're going to focus on that a little bit today. That leads to more purposeful growth and maybe even more impact beyond just ourselves and thinking about what's my life's work? What does that really look like? So where's your okay, so 1, 3, 4 and 4.5, 4. Great. So we got people all over the place. And it's not to say there's anything wrong from anywhere that you're at, but it's just saying, where are you at? Because you have to start from where you are, right? So my promise for this session is by the end of this time, you're gonna have some clear actions and adjustments to make an intentional career transition or upgrade into a more impactful, higher paying and fulfilling role. And I'm gonna do that by teaching you what I call the next level engineering career formula and how you can apply it. That's my intention. That's my promise to you. My invitation to you is to be present, to engage with the topics, the content of the session. Put your cell phone away, ideally put away other distractions, actively participate, take notes, identify actions to take, and see what you discover. Be open to new ideas. And this is a little bit of a different kind of webinar. There is an opportunity for a few people to work with me one-on-one, but I set this up so you're going to get value with our time together, whether you decide to do that or not. There are plenty of people who just say, "Hey, like I'm just going to tell you all the things you need to do, and then now you have to pay me all this money." But like, there's stuff here that I teach people all the time, that's right here in this session. Okay, so hopefully you're ready. We're going to talk about this next level engineering career formula. So we're going to build this up like a little bit of a structure with a foundation. Raul and I have known each other for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, and Raul is always talking about this, like the fundamentals and the foundation. That's partly from him. He's a construction guy. But I also believe, even though I'm no structural engineer, I believe in the quality and the importance of a solid foundation. And from a career standpoint, and making a career shift, there are 3 things I've found to be extremely important, but sadly, most people neglect. And number 1 is the right mindset for how we go about making a change and thinking about ourselves and the process we're going to be moving through. Having clarity about what's most important to us, our intentions, and what really drives that. And then creating a personal brand that aligns with where we want to go and what's most important to us and how we communicate the value that we bring to the table. Okay. So think about in a building, it's not that hard to think about what happens without a foundation. Okay. Well, it's going to crumble. It's not going to look good. But think about in a career, what does that look like? Well, maybe we're driven by fear. We have these internal beliefs that we're not good enough, right? We can't communicate the value that we can even bring, right? I think Brandon talked about like really owning your value earlier. You're your own biggest advocate, but if you don't know and you can't communicate that value, that's going to be a really hard thing to do, right? How do you articulate that? And then sadly, I see people when they're struggling with this, they get frustrated and they just stop trying. And that breaks my heart because I see a lost opportunity there. Maybe some of this sounds familiar to some of you, some things you've experienced personally, or maybe seen other people go through as well. So that's what happens without a foundation. Well, what happens with a strong career foundation? Well, that can take a number of different things. When we have the right mindset, we're going to start seeing challenges as opportunities instead of just problems that we have to face. We're going to see ways that we can grow through the struggle, through the challenge, right? We're going to have clarity in where we're headed, and that vision is going to help guide us in our actions and our path. We're going to have more confidence in that because of all that. And we're going to know how to communicate that value with who we are and what we can do, and how that communicates with potential employers. Huge opportunities here. Okay. So these are just a few foundational questions to give you kind of a check-in to say, hey, how strong is my foundation or not right now? If you can answer these really well, great. If you struggle to answer these, that is an indication that there's work to do, and that's fine. So things like, do I have the confidence to make this career shift that I want to make? What are the most important things to me as I move towards a new role? What are my greatest strengths, skills, and passions that could provide unique value to a potential employer? Am I willing to do what it takes? It's a combo of mindset and confidence and other things. Am I willing to do what it takes to and get out of my comfort zone? So this is these are some questions like, hey, can you answer these? If so, great. You're probably on a good trajectory, got a pretty decent foundation. If not, if you're struggling with these, then again, that's an indication that there's some work to do. So if we were to put these three foundational pieces, mindset, career clarity, personal branding, in a little Venn diagram, we could spend a whole hour on any one of these or just these three, but we're going to focus just a little bit more time on one that I see a lot of engineers really struggle with, and that's career clarity. And I see a lot of people struggle with this because engineers are so versatile in the types of opportunities and roles and industries that they can play a part in, right? And so then they can find themselves getting into analysis paralysis, wondering like, well, if I can do anything, what am I actually going to do? What do I actually want to do, right? And that can be a huge challenge. I know Brandon works in recruiting. He probably sees a lot of this too, right? And engineers he talks with, and like, well, I want to do X, I want to do Y, maybe Z, I don't know. Like, well, as a recruiter, how do we help you know where to go and guide you to those opportunities if you can't even articulate that? So this is a really critical piece. Now, I come from the mechanical engineering world, and if there's any other mechanical engineers or people worked with them, this might look familiar. These are just 3D printed parts, and often, I mean, there are plenty of products that are using 3D printed parts in production and like released products in many cases. Especially there's certain 3D printers and additive manufacturing techniques that can be really solid, especially for low volume stuff. But in this case, these are probably mostly prototyped things that giving size, shape, dimension, seeing if things fit, really for testing. And I use that as a metaphor to think, hey, the different steps we take along our career, they're just prototypes, right? We're just running tests, we're experiments, and there's no moment where we are suddenly a finished product and we have it all figured out, right? The whole point of prototypes is to discover what's next and what we want to do and to collect data, right? And you can think about each step along your career in the same way. And so think about iterating through your career, not necessarily having this perfect 5, 10, 20-year plan, like this is exactly what life is going to look like, and now I can drive towards that. But maybe say, hey, what's the next experiment I want to run? I have a hypothesis. I think I might want to try this. How would I run an experiment? And that experiment could be as large as making a career shift, changing to a different industry, or it could be small things like have a conversation with someone in a different industry. Raise your hand, take on a new small side role at your current job. It could be volunteering in your community to try something, right? It could take a lot of different forms, right? But when we think about this as it's just a prototype, we're running an experiment, then we can run the analysis, collect the data. Hey, how did this work for me? Then we can move through a lot more experiments instead of feeling like, oh, I need to make just this perfect decision so I can be this perfect finished product. And that never really happens in my experience. We have to keep being in this really curious, adaptive state. Okay. Now clarity can help us in a couple other ways. It can also kind of be a guiding light for us. especially when we think about clarity in terms of like things that are aligned with our intentions and our values, right? That's really going to guide us in a certain direction, as well as it can act as a filter as well to say, hey, these things are not aligned with me. So the guiding light is like, hey, it might be a windy path, but am I at least pointing in the right direction? And is the filter filtering out things that don't align with me? And I can push those to the side. And that's quite helpful as well. So just a couple ways that this connect. So I want to help you just do a little bit of work around this and take 60 seconds or so and get out a journal, a notebook, or even a sticky note or something, and just start brainstorming. Hey, what are some, when I think about the next phase of my career, what are some non-negotiables? What are some things that are really, really important to me? Okay. And what are some things that you think like you must have for for you to even want to take that step, right? So that's just one piece of the clarity, but if we can get a little bit of work on this done in 60 seconds or so, that'll get you some good momentum, and you can finish off on some of that for anything you don't finish later. But bonus, like, hey, you can even go down a level deeper, say, hey, why is that really important to me? I say this is a non-negotiable. What's that really about for me? Okay. And you can use these ideas, these non-negotiables, as your intention as you move through potential opportunities and directions you might want to take. So I'll give you about 45 more seconds now and taking some time and see what you can get out of this. Sorry, I don't have some elevator music queued up for you, but I want to just give you a little reflection time. And by the way, just in general, it's best to word these as things that you really want, not things that you're just trying to avoid. There's a psychological reason for that, but yeah, more like, hey, I'd rather work, these hours rather than I don't want to work nights or something. So, all right. Hopefully that's helpful to get you a little bit of momentum and a little bit of reflection time going there. So we've spent some time building this foundation, that mindset, the clarity, the personal branding. Now on top of that foundation, we start layering on the strategy in a meaningful way. Okay. And the strategy from a career transition standpoint can take a few different angles in terms of our network, our relationships that we build, right? The strategy we use on LinkedIn and our resume, these are really like where the personal brand comes together and how we communicate this, right? But I find that a lot of people do this in the wrong way. And to say, hey, what happens without a strategy? I'm going to go back to a story from British naval history. Because without a strategy, it leads to inconclusive results, even if you have all the right things at your disposal. Okay. So over 200 years ago, um, well, just think about naval history at the time. So in the early 1800s, the prevailing tactics were for two opposing naval fleets, if they were going to battle at sea, they would just pull up parallel to each other with their cannons facing each other and fire broadsides at each other. So what that meant is that they were so close to each other, you essentially had the same chance of hitting them. It's kind of hard to miss as long as the cannon didn't misfire on you. So it's mostly just the bigger ship or the bigger fleet would generally win because they could do the most damage, right? They had the most guns um, that they could take on, right? But at the time, Napoleon was leader in France, and there was this admiral, Horatio Nelson. He was a British admiral, and he was facing this battle called the Battle of Trafalgar. Okay, and there was this combined armada of French and Spanish ships that Napoleon had ordered to disrupt British commerce. Okay. And the British Navy was far and away the best trained. Okay. But he knew that if he was going to do the same normal tactics of just going parallel and firing broadsides, he was going to lose. He was well outnumbered in terms of firepower and capacity. Okay. And so he knew he needed to take a different strategy. So what he did, you can kind of see on this diagram here, instead of going parallel, he went perpendicular. He did things differently. He broke the fleet into two columns and he drove them perpendicularly to the Franco-Spanish fleet. And he risked that, hey, his well-trained, high-quality crews would be able to compensate for that. And the Franco-Spanish fleet was going to struggle. They wouldn't know what to do or how to maneuver and handle that sort of approach, okay, because they weren't used to this, okay? And what actually happened well, sorry, everyone. That is not what was planned. The computer decided it was time to restart. So that's it. Anyway, so let me just get this pulled up again. Give me just a second. But thanks for bearing with me here. So anyway, as I was saying about Admiral Nelson, so he took his fleet perpendicular to the others, and it worked out in his favor. They had the Franco-Spanish fleet. They lost 22 ships that day, which was about 2/3 of their fleet, and the British didn't lose any. Although sadly, I just learned this fairly recently, is that Admiral Nelson himself actually passed away in that battle. But his fleet, because he stayed up on top and he was leading the whole thing, and but his fleet didn't record any losses from a ship perspective, which is pretty amazing. So let me pull this up again. There we go. Thumbs up, you can see it?
Not yet, no. Yeah,
Not yet? Okay, cool. Anyway, so there's just a difference, right, between a bad strategy and a good strategy. And a good strategy usually means you have to do different than the typical thing. Okay. And it's the same in a career sense. You know, a good strategy is going to turn a challenge into an opportunity, allow us to do things differently and stand out, get better results, and give you some different tools to succeed. So why don't you think about this from a job transition perspective? Okay. You want to make a career move, you want to get an upgrade, you want to get paid more, whatever. What do you think is the average number of applications that are submitted for a corporate job posting? Just type your answer in the chat. Just give me a number. What do you think that number is? Raul's saying 100. Sam, Jamal, Ahmed. Sam says 250. Give you about 5 more seconds to put a number in. I've seen numbers all over the place. We're saying 1,000, 5,000, whatever. And any number could be true for the particular role that you're applying to, right? But the data says that on average, a corporate job posting attracts right the number that Sam said is 250. Okay, so Sam was right on the money. Maybe seen the data before, or maybe you just guessed really well. But and so if you think about it, an average of about 5 people get an interview, and obviously one gets a job, that's about 2% chance to get an interview and a less than 0.5% chance to get the job. And that's if everything's equal, but of course it's not. And so like on average, if you want to get a job, a new role, you'd have to put in 250 applications. Is that something you want to do? I know I wouldn't, right? So I actually consider that a bad career strategy, okay? Because that's what everyone else is doing, is to search LinkedIn and Indeed for hours and hours, apply, spray and pray, hope for the best, and maybe you might go an extra step and find a recruiter in that company, say, hey, I applied for this job. I'd love to find out more and talk with you, right? But unsurprisingly, very little response. And especially with AI growing and some economic concerns we're having, even more than I've seen it besides maybe COVID. I'm seeing this to not work over and over again. And really, this is the definition of insanity. This is attributed to Einstein, although there's some debate on whether Einstein actually ever said this. But the principle is helpful. Is this idea of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? It's insane, right? But none of you are insane, which is why you're here and you're trying to do things differently. So a good career strategy then should do things differently, like Admiral Nelson did, right? And in a career standpoint, use your clarified personal brand to optimize your documentation, your LinkedIn, your resume. Then identify companies, people that you would be interested in working for and align with your purpose and values, that clarity that we talked about. Okay. Then proactively reach out to individuals in those companies, seeking information, interviews, conversations. You're trying to build relationships rather than just say, hey, I'd love to get a job at your company. Yeah, that doesn't work. Then people feel like they're just being used, they're transactional. But if you come from a, hey, I'm interested in you as a person, then that can really work. Okay. And again, build relationships, which can then gain you advocates. It's going to get you more interviews and opportunities, and refresh your career in a good way. So this is just one of many good career strategies that I've seen work over and over again. Because it's people that hire people. It's not resumes and job boards to hire people, right? So we got to connect with people. A lot of different ways to do that. This is just one, but that's the basics there. Okay, so we built the foundation. Now we've layered on a strategy to get us opportunities. Now we need to execute on those opportunities, and in a career transition context, that is job interviews and negotiation. Okay, because the last thing you'd want to do is get an interview and not be prepared, right? You're not doing any research about the company. You just show up and hope it goes well. Okay. You don't know who you're really going to be talking to, what are the requirements of the role, and how to connect and tell your stories, to connect your skills, building on that personal branding that we talked about earlier. Okay. Similarly, is get a job offer. And a lot of people don't even try to negotiate. They're leaving money on the table. In fact, research suggests that 80% of even seasoned executives leave money on the table in their negotiations. So if negotiating isn't something you're doing all the time, you're probably leaving money on the table too. And over the course of a career, that can result in millions of dollars. Okay. So don't let this be you. Okay. That's not what you want to do. What you would like to do is make the most of every opportunity. You don't want to leave with those feelings of regret, even if it doesn't work out. And if you do get a job offer, maximize that transition into something that's not just good, but great. You negotiate the best package that you possibly can. And so this diagram can help us kind of say, hey, what area do I need to work on? Right? If you're thinking about where you're at in terms of negotiation skills and interview skills, because you could see, hey, where this could put you. If you're great at both, excellent. You're probably in that first quadrant. If you're struggling with one or both, then hey, maybe you're in quadrant 2, 3, or 4. And so it's worth asking a question. Where are you at? And so I'm going to ask that. Just put the number 1, 2, 3, or 4. Where do you feel like you sit on this matrix of execution? Just put 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. Now I'm surprised. I know Raul well. I'm surprised he's saying he's in number 3, low on both of those, because I don't think that's totally true. We might be self-deprecating a little bit, but there's some work to do there. Okay. Sam's saying 1, I hope. Yeah, great. I mean, even if you're saying 1, like, yeah, there's always work to do to get better at this stuff, right? That's fine. Like, you know, We're not on a quest for perfection in any way, but it's just saying, hey, where do I feel like I'm at right now? Because then you can do something with that. Tell you about James. I changed his name here to protect his name, but he was a civil engineer, professional engineer. He had some big career goals. He's ambitious. He was working at a great company, but he had a different company reach out to him with an exciting opportunity because he was using technology in a really innovative way, and they were really interested in growing that part of their practice. Okay. And so we really wanted to explore this because he wanted to use more and more of the technology. And his current role was only letting him do some of that. So we wanted to explore this opportunity, negotiate well while also keeping his relationships intact at his current company. He wasn't someone that wanted to burn bridges in any way. So what we did is we worked on creating a negotiation approach and adjusted what he was thinking already. And we did some of that clarity work and got down to what was really most important to him in his career. And we put together a negotiation plan in alignment with that. Because negotiations are usually multi-pronged. And so you want to get really clear on those things. For him, he ended up accepting an offer right out the gate that had a $20,000 raise, and also a much larger growth trajectory that he was able to negotiate as well for future performance and growth. And then we also did some work to plan out that I'm leaving discussion at his current job so he could leave well and keep those relationships intact. So that was just one piece, and that's just the negotiation experience. But what's possible for you, right? As you think about what's next. So now at this point, we've built kind of the full pyramid, but there's this overarching piece that covers all of that, the foundation, strategy, and the execution. That's getting the right support. This can come in a few different forms, having community and coaching, mentoring that can really help you as you're moving through this process. We need support. We are social beings, whether or not engineers want to admit that or not. But we have a tendency to get stuck in our own heads and get an analysis paralysis. But I found over and over and over again, connection with others, real human connection, creates a shared experience. And that can be in a few different forms. I curate virtual communities and have been able to connect people all over the country. I also occasionally run retreats. Raul came to the one I did a little over a month ago, and we
Good.
continue to stay connected. And one of the guys said, "Hey, this is what I expected to come away with, but I've lost 10 pounds and I'm working out every day." Some health goals, and his leadership approach is changing too. So a lot of different things that can come out of this stuff when we connect and collaborate with each other. Okay.
Right.
So we need support. Move through personal and career transformations is one of the things that can be extremely exhausting and emotionally draining. But no matter what you're going through, like nothing in life that's worth doing should be done completely alone, right? We need trusted people on our team. And so when you're looking for someone to help you, a mentor or coach, ideally they should be someone who's helped others navigate through similar stuff, have personal experience in the industry that you're in, have contacts in the industry that can help you get some insider information, and give you resources, time, and attention to make sure you're not staying stuck. You should ideally avoid people with no previous clients to back up results, little to no experience in your industry, have a network that's less influential than your own, or simply just going to tell you what to do and not actually help you implement that, right? These are some things to avoid. Okay. There's just a few things to consider. Where's your community? Where's who's your coach or your mentor who's helping you, supporting you through this process? Foundation, strategy, execution. Where do you really need to spend that work on? Where are you weakest that we can shore up in a big way? So what I promise you over and over again is that if you can build these things together, that's going to help you accelerate and make the change you want to make. So hopefully you felt like I kept my promise that I give you some clear things to do, some action steps to make that career transition that you're trying to make. But are you all good from here? Maybe it's a yes and no. In the finance world, Warren Buffett, one of the richest people of all time, might explain investing in one sentence: buy low, sell high, and only invest in things you understand. But obviously, I understand that, but I'm not a multi-billionaire yet. And because it's the details that make all the difference, right? And so people who succeed are committed to finding the answers and taking action on those, even when they might be struggling along the way, even if they have to invest in themselves, pay for it. That's what Jay did. I told you a little bit about him. I mentioned James, plenty of other people along the way. So here's just some things that you might still need to figure out. Hey, what direction do I want to take in my career? How do I show my personal brand? How do I craft great documentation, resume, LinkedIn profile? How do I get recruiters and hiring managers to really talk to me? How do I get more opportunities for interviews? How do I negotiate well any offers I get? Where can I find that support that I need? And perhaps everything else that you don't know that you don't know. So you can choose, you can figure it out for yourself, or I would love to help. We've talked about that system, and I can go even deeper with you in a way that's helped many engineers like you get life-changing career upgrades. In fact, I ran the numbers not too long ago, and people that work with me make transitions 40% faster than average and increase compensation by anywhere from 20 to 100% in a lot of cases. Yes, I have people double their salaries. It's crazy. But even more important to me is that it's all aligned with their career foundation and the things that they said they wanted. Okay. So, and this is a program I have called the Engineering Career Accelerator. I've seen people make transitions into companies, well-known companies that you've heard of, and plenty other smaller startups and mid-sized companies, because that's what they really wanted to do, all over the country. Okay. And so you can move your career level. If you're at a 1, 2, or 3, we can get you to a 4, and maybe even point towards what would a 5 look like for you. So we always have a choice, right? I like to think back to basic physics. This is one of Newton's laws of motion. An object at rest will stay at rest unless it's acted upon by an outside force. So if you're feeling like you're at rest in your career, whether you're out of a job or feeling stuck or feel like there's limited opportunities, or you just know that something needs to change, or you're not sure what needs to change or especially how to do it, you can stay at rest, or you can get that outside force. Join the Engineering Career Accelerator program. Get that help that you need to accelerate your career now. So here's what to do. If this is interesting to you and you'd love to explore this, I'd love to talk with you more in depth. You can go to jeff-perry.com/schedule-call, and we can have a conversation. And I can get to know you and where you're at, and see if we would be a good fit to do this work together. If so, I'll give you an opportunity to join the ECA program. If I am not 100% confident that I can help you, then I'll give you some ideas, but I'm not going to even give you the opportunity because I'm really selective. I want to be really confident in my ability to help you in your particular circumstances. So if you go there, you'll see my calendar availability, and we'll discuss where you're at and where you're trying to go. Okay? We'll put a package together. So if this is something you want to do, upgrade your career, get paid more, and align with your foundation, then let's chat. So that's the stuff I've got. You're welcome to stick around. You can use the QR code or the link to schedule a call. Also got a free resource here called the Career Clarity Checklist, one of the most popular resources if you want to go even deeper on the career clarity stuff. But would love to have a conversation with you if this is of interest to you. But want to open up some time for some Q&A if there's questions, discussions, anything that I can help you with as we finish the conversation in our time tonight.
Yeah, excellent. It's always something new I learn, even if although I've been with you in a year and a half and two, there's always something new, different little tidbits.
Mhm.
You know, keeps me on track, you know, because
Yeah,
sometimes
good.
you know, we do fall off, but whether it's the retreat crew or going back and looking at some of my sticky notes and things, I have to be reminded of things, you know,
Mm, good.
and this is good. I mean, I'm glad you focused on the foundation. You built a
Mhm.
strong foundation and you linked it. I mean, the way you built that pyramid, I thought was important. So.
Yeah, cool. What stood out for you personally, Raul, in terms of actions you're going to take based
Well,
on
I
being
know
reminded
next
of
to
some
my
of this stuff?
calls of the CEOs who I've identified and said I will call them since I didn't have conversation, and I wrote them
Yeah.
down because there are four key ones that I have, and three of them were there. And you know, the conference was really good for me. It continued to build upon my brand. You
Hmm.
know, whether moderating a session, uh, speaking up in the fellows meeting. I mean, I've initiated some new actions, but not in a braggadocious way. And I was overall pleased with it. I did what I had to do and did it quietly. So I was
Good.
pleased overall with the week I had there. So
Good.
there's a lot of follow-ons. There's a lot of follow-on action I have to take with some of the committees I'm with and the committees I lead. But you know, this is good again to keep it going. And I think it's important. I tell people, Jeff, that you know I'm working with you in a year and a half, 2 years, and I said even I mean, where I turn around and mentor people, I said I got to turn around and I have a coach. I bounce things off, and I
Hmm.
I I, I spoke of the retreat and the Utah and how much I thought I was in shape, and then when I went up that mountain and came down, I said, "Whoa, you got a lot to learn." And you know, it was eye opening, and it was, it still is, and I like,
Hmm.
you know, again, I like with the retreat crew is everybody's chiming in and telling me what they're doing, and everybody's offering a little advice. I mean, you even said it, you realized you needed to make some changes, and you're going about making the changes, and I mean
Hmm.
that you know we all just feed off of each other, and just
Totally.
continue to watch our progress. You know, anyway.
Yeah. It's one of the best things that I get to do. I get to coach people, but I also get to learn from them as well. And I love that as I, build those relationships. Yeah, thanks, Raul. Sam, Jamal, any questions, things on your mind here tonight? Applied some of these ideas to your personal situation and what you're going through?
Well, I don't know if you can see my camera. I thought I turned it on.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
see you, Sam. You're good.
Okay, there I am. Well, so I'm currently employed. I'm in a job I like, but we're kind of caught in some of the tariff nonsense that's could very well have a soon detrimental effect. I've got a lot of coworkers that are leaving. So I
Mm.
wasn't planning to jump to a new opportunity, but it might be good timing.
Hmm.
So I guess, uh, again, it wasn't in my near term plan to change jobs. I've been in
Hmm.
this current job for 2 years and really enjoy it and would like to stay. And I see a lot of growth opportunity,
Hmm.
and things I'd like to accomplish. But I also don't want to have the rug pulled out from under me, right? So
Yeah.
I'm beginning to look around, and I think right now I need to set some more specific goals, short term and long
Mm.
term. Because again, I wasn't thinking about this at all just 2 months
Yeah.
ago. So I
Yeah.
need to be strategic. I'm not in a rush, which is a good position to be, for sure.
That's great.
And so I certainly don't want to take a job uh, that I like less, that would be
Hmm.
less on track with my career.
Yeah.
So I guess my immediate need is more goal setting
Hmm.
and alignment of short term and long term goals.
Yeah, so probably a lot more of that work around career clarity, like, hey, if you were going to make a move, what would really do it for you? Right?
Yes.
Like, what would be worth making a shift? Because, before a couple months ago, like you said, that wasn't a big thing on your radar. You're happy, content with where you're at, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's great.
Yeah.
Um, it's a wonderful place to be, and plenty of people aren't that way. In fact, Gallup does a huge worldwide survey on employee engagement. About 50% of people across the world have an intent to leave their current employer. Okay, so it's actually it's only about a 50% chance that you like want to stay, in most cases. So it's a great place to be, and also you're a great place to be that you're not in a rush, but it makes sense to figure out some of those things that are really important to you. So if you're gonna move through a change, how do we make that the right change for you right now? Right? And that's stuff I love working on. And so Sam would love to dive a little deeper. Let's set up a time to chat a little more depth in the next few days, to talk through that and your particular situation, your industry, and there's probably some people that I know.
Mhm.
What are you in? What kind of engineer are you, Sam?
I'm an electrical engineer,
Oh, cool. Great.
and my specialty is uh, automated testing.
Yeah.
Some jobs have focused more on testing chips. Some have focused more on testing boards and
Mhm.
in products.
Mhm.
So I'm currently in a job where I'm testing chips.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, and there's yeah, that's an interesting industry these days because semiconductors and other things are growing, and like you're saying, hey, tariffs and create and other things create uncertainty, right? So that's an interesting place, but also opportunities, and some of the and Texas is a great growth opportunity and in terms of opportunities there, generally as well. So that's good. You're in a good spot.
It is, yeah. And one of my goals is definitely the mobility of being
Mm,
able to switch industries,
yeah,
you know, it, within my specialty. And I've done pretty well with that because,
good.
every industry is cyclical. And so
Yeah,
if
totally.
if
So it's
I'm
a little bit
stuck
of
on
future proofing that you're working on as well.
exactly future
Mhm.
proofing. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Yeah, Sam, let's chat soon.
Yeah.
And go in depth on this. Would love to.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
thanks for being here.
You bet.
Cool. Jamal, what can we do for you? Any thoughts, questions on the conversation tonight? If you're there? Maybe not. Can't hear you. All right, guys. Well, Sam and others, I threw the link to schedule a call in the chat as well. That makes it easier than grabbing it off the screen. So if you want to chat, feel free to set that time up. Anything else I can help with tonight, with the time that we've got? Happy to take this time or let you go,
No, yeah,
depending on what you
Jeff,
need.
I gotta run. I got another call in a couple minutes. So,
Yeah, cool.
uh,
Raul, good to see you as always, my friend. Take care.
yeah, same here. I guess maybe before Thanksgiving we get a call with the retreat crew again. I guess, yeah, just checking in.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
fun. That'd be fun.
okay.
Let's do
Thanks
it.
again.
All
Thanks.
right.
Good night, guys.
Okay, take care.
Mhm.
Sam, anything else I can do to help you tonight?
No, I'll set up a time and we'll have a better conversation. I guess
Awesome.
if there's anything I should do to prepare for that conversation.
Yeah, well, it'll be in that link actually. There's just like a
Oh,
short video to watch that helps
perfect.
prepare and answer a few questions that gives me some context on you.
Yeah,
But it's pretty short and sweet, and then we'll have a great conversation then. Okay.
awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you putting this on. It was great.
Yeah, right on. Looking forward to chat soon. Take care.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, y'all.